Hey there, welcome to the next section. In this one, I'm going to show you how to upload videos, how to upload audio, and also how to do a screen recording. So those are three things. There's different variations within the video section. So I'm going to show you all of those details. So let's get straight into it. Let's begin with the upload video from the computer. Now, this couldn't be easier. What we want to do is we want to go to the Insert menu tab. We want to go all the way here to the right. And you're going to see media. These are the three things we're going to be using. So video, audio, and screen recording. So let's begin with video. I want to just use a video from my computer. Okay, so we go here, video on my PC. All right, I'm going to go locate a video I can use. I'm going to use this one right here. Insert, that's going to do the processing. And there it is there. Now, like any image, it has handles. So you can adjust this just like an image. There we go. And I can just move it like an image. We have the controls here at the bottom. This is the timeline. So the start, and then it fills up until it gets to the end. So I'm going to show you that real quickly. So that starts playing and so on. And one thing you want to set is automatic play, because if you're playing this during a presentation, when you get to this slide, it won't play straight away. You'll have to click it. So to avoid that, you can do an automatic play. If you don't want that and you kind of want to talk first before the video plays, then you don't have to do this. So it's very easy. We just right-click, and then we go to Start. And we can either select automatically or on click. Alternatively, you can do that here in the video option, so automatically or on clicks. If I go automatically for that one, and I'm going to introduce a slide here just before it, and I'm just going to call it whatever. Okay, so when I go and play this slide, and I go to the next one, it's automatically going to start playing. Okay, so very, very simple. So let's get out of that one. And that's all there is to doing videos. So I hope you guys enjoyed this first video, and I'll see you next time. Hey there, welcome back. I'm going to show you some features for editing your video. And we can find those features in the following area. First, you got to select your video so that we can see the Format menu tab. Now, again, this is a temporary menu tab like you've seen before, and will only activate when you've clicked this video. So I'm outside, you're not going to see it. Okay, so we go to the Format menu tab. We go here to the left in the Adjust section, and we're going to start with Poster Frame. Now, Poster Frame, you've probably seen before. They're called thumbnails. So if you watch a YouTube video, the picture that you see before you actually open up that YouTube video is the thumbnail. So we can actually select that from a picture that we have saved on the computer, or we can use a frame within the video. So if I scan through this video, and I find a picture, so let's say this one right here, I can use that as the thumbnail or the poster frame for this video. So it's the image that you see when you get to this slide. Okay, so I'll go ahead and click this button, and I just select current frame. So that is now what you're going to see as part of the slides. If I go in there, that's the picture you see. Okay, so from here, I can actually adjust the settings of the appearance of my video. So let's go back into the Format section, and we're going to be playing around with these corrections and colors. You've seen this before when we were doing images. So we go Corrections, and here we can adjust the brightness. So I can actually do that, or I can adjust the contrast. Okay, or a bit of both. So let's say I go there, I can also adjust the color, like so, so it can become brighter. Do yellow. So there's heaps of options. Okay, now let's say you've made a number of changes, you change a poster frame, and you don't like that stuff. You can just click here. Now you can go Reset Design, and that removes all the features that I just did, or I just press undo there. If I go Reset Design and Side, it goes back to the very original before I've changed it, like so. And now it's full screen again. So that's what it looked like when I uploaded it the first time. Okay, so those are just some basic editing features for your video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and see you in the next one. Hey there, welcome back. So I'm going to show you how to edit the length of your video. Now, of course, there are some very, very advanced video editing softwares out there. PowerPoint is very, very limited in what you can do on your video. But we can trim the video. Very simple. We go to the image, we can right-click and select trim, or alternatively, if we select the image, we go to playback and we select trim video. It is the same thing. So let's go ahead and do that. And from there, it's going to bring up the trim video window. From here, you'll see on the bottom, you have the green bar or handle and the red handle. The green is the start, the red is the end. So if I want to shorten the front, I simply just drag this in, or I can actually set the time in here. Okay, so I can type in a time or use the triangles. Exact same thing for the ending, right? I can move this closer or to the end, okay? And I can also use this. And that's really all there is to video editing. So I hope you guys enjoyed and see you in the next video. Hey there, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to teach you about bookmarks and fades. So we activate the video and we want to go to playback. Okay, up here. And we're going to be working with bookmarks and the fading functions over here. So let's start with bookmarks. Bookmarks are super simple. So just like a bookmark in an actual book, it's really just to mark a spot or a time in your video. So let's say I have something very interesting that I want to show someone or I need to refer to. For example, let's say here, recording tip number 3. Let's say I can put a bookmark there by simply clicking Add Bookmark. So if I go ahead and click that, you can see a yellow dot. Okay? So then that means if I'm over here and I press play and I go, actually, I can just skip ahead and I know exactly where it is, right? Because I have a bookmark. Now, to get rid of it, you simply use the Remove Bookmark button, like so. And that's it. It's as simple as bookmarks. The next thing is fade. So what is fade? Fade is sort of like a gradual increase in audio. And also, it fades in the images. So instead of it just blinking and you see it straight away, the brightness slowly increases until you see the image or the frame, okay? So the way to set it is very, very easy. You just set how long you want your fade to be. So let's say I do 5 seconds, like so, and I click out there. If I go ahead and click play, notice how there's like a slight fade before I actually see any text. That is the fade that I set. So you can do that at the beginning and at the end of your videos. And this is really, really good because it's kind of just like a gentle intro into your video and a gentle outro. So it's not like bang, the music goes straight away. It just slowly builds up. So it's a little bit nicer, okay? So that is bookmarks and that is fade. So I hope you guys enjoyed and see you in the next video. Hey there, welcome back. In this one, I'm going to talk about extra video options. Now, to find those, we need to select the video. Then I'm going to go to playback. I'm going to play with this section right here. I've already talked about the start on click function, so I'm going to talk about the other ones. You can set the volume of your video, right? Low, medium, high, or you can just mute it. So that's what happens when it plays. You can play it in full screen. So what happens is when it gets to this slide, instead of it playing in this spot right here, it'll actually fill up your entire screen. Okay? The other one is hide while not playing. So if the video finishes and it's not playing anymore, it'll just become hidden. It'll just become invisible during the presentation. Okay? The next one is loop until stopped. Now, this is good for if you have a short animation, like 5 seconds, 10 seconds. I've seen this in, like, for example, aerodynamics, when you're seeing any fluids moving over a certain object, and you kind of want to see that simple animation over and over and over again. So you can do that. And the other one is you can rewind after playing. The reason you may need this is because you may want to play it again. Because when the video finishes, it finishes here, and the cursor just stops. So instead of it just stopping there, you can make it go all the way back to the beginning. So you simply have to press play instead of moving the cursor back. Okay, so those are just some extra video options that you can play around with just to enhance your video experience. So I hope you guys enjoyed and see you at the next video. Hey there, welcome back. I thought I would add a little tip about videos. This has happened to me before and it's quite embarrassing. If you are presenting at a conference or you're going to be using someone else's computer to do your presentation, don't forget to bring the video files with you. Okay? If you just bring the PowerPoint file on a USB, but leave the video files on your computer, then when you run your PowerPoint, it's going to try and look for those videos at the same destination as where the video files are located. Okay? And what happens then is that it's going to look for it and it's not going to be there, so it's just going to say, cannot play. Okay? So tip, make sure the best thing to do is to bring the videos and put it in the same folder as your PowerPoint file. And then when you get there, do a quick test, make sure it's all linked up. Sometimes it's automatic, sometimes you do need to play around with it or relink it. Okay, so that's just a little tip for having videos in your PowerPoint slide, and just to make sure everything's on the up and up and everything's okay on presentation day. Okay, so that's all for this one. It's just a short tip, and I'll see you next time. Hey there, welcome back. In this one, I'm going to show you some video styling effects that you can apply to your video. They're very, very simple, very similar to how you style images. So if we select the image and click on the Format menu tab, it's going to bring us to the Video Styles section. From here, you can select some preset formatting for, so let's just go through a few. I can put one with a small frame there. I can give some shadows. Let's go through some more. So you can have something like that. Okay, let's go through the next one. You can have ones with different cups like this. So a very, very simple way of applying quick formatting. Okay, so if you want to apply some of your own ones, we go just reset design, get rid of that. We can actually use these buttons over here. So we can use video shape, and shape will dictate the outside shape of your video. So I can have curved corners, I can have ones like that. And so there's many to choose from that you can play with. Okay, so I'm going to go back to square. The next thing is we can actually set the video border. So that's simply just selecting the color. We can select the thickness. We can select our own color. So very, very simple. We can select the dashed lines of how it's going to look. And the last thing is the video effects. So from here, again, similar to images, you have shadowing effects, reflections, glows, soft edges, bevels, and so on. You can actually go much deeper into the settings by going to shadow options. And that's going to bring you to the format video pane here on the right. And from here, you can make some very, very intricate changes to your video, right? Because you can get you can change every single setting. So you can go in here and you can adjust and play with it as much as you want. If you go nuts, you go too far, you can always use the reset design. Okay? So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you at the next video. Hey there, welcome back. I am going to show you how to include a video from YouTube into your PowerPoint presentation. It's very simple. We go to the YouTube video that we want. I've got one right here. I watch a lot of sports, a bit of tennis fans, so I just picked a video about Rafael Nadal. And you just want to go to this embed button right here. If you scroll down the screen, you're going to see this text. You just want to copy that text into what I will show you next. So if we go into the PowerPoint presentation I have on the left, we have the Insert menu tab. We're going to go into Media. Okay. And we're going to go to Video. And we're going to do Online Video. And that's going to bring up our window. Like so. We're going to give it a second to connect and do what it's going to do. And we have a number of options. We can use Share Drive or OneDrive from memory. Yes, OneDrive, there it is. We can have a YouTube video. So we can actually do a search here and then it'll show YouTube results and show like that. Or we can embed the code ourselves. So this one's pretty easy. When you search it up, a video comes up, you click it, and then that's it. In this one, you can embed a photo video from here. So we just copy this text, we highlight all that, right-click, copy. We go in here, we paste, and then embed or insert. It does processing, goes tick, 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 figures it out, puts it together, codes it, and all that. And now we have the video right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and we can go play that. So it's going to think, it's going to process, it's going to go through things. And it should start playing. So there you are. And that's your video right there. Okay, so it's very, very simple adding a YouTube video. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey there, welcome back. I'm going to show you how to include some audio into your file. So this could be music, this could be a voice recording. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that. So if we go to the Insert menu tab, I'm going to go again to the Media section. We'll click this audio button. And we are going to have two options. You can have audio that you've already recorded and you'd like to just import. So again, a song that's already been written or a soundtrack of some sort. So you can do that. And that will simply open up an Insert Audio dialog box. And this means you just select the audio file and click Insert. So that's very, very simple. The other one is you can actually do a recording. So if we go back to that audio button, we go Record Audio, it's going to bring up this little window. And this allows us to actually record and save straight away. So if I just do an example here, you won't be hearing it because of the settings of my recording software. But I'm just going to get that to go. And you'll notice that the time is going. Okay, you press OK, and that's done. And now you have your recording right there. So you can press play to record. You can move forward or backward a quarter of a second. You can adjust the volume, and you can also see the time from there. Okay? And you can add as many of these as you want. So very, very simple way to add audio. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you at the next video. Hey there, welcome to the next section on how to create tables in Microsoft PowerPoint. There's a number of ways to do this. I'm going to begin with the introduction, just a few things. So, common question is, should I create my table in Microsoft Excel and then send it to PowerPoint, or should I create it in PowerPoint and link it to my Excel, or should I create it purely in PowerPoint? And the answer is, it all depends on how complex the table is. If your table is going to have formulas and it's quite large and you want to do some intricate formatting, I say do it in Excel. If it's something really simple like a 3x3 table, just a few numbers, just do it in PowerPoint and save a lot of time. But anything where it gets beyond that, go to Excel. Simply because it's so much easier to build it in Excel because you've got all the functionality, you've got all the space. It's designed exactly for building tables. And then you can always copy it over and just do the final formatting in PowerPoint, just to ensure it matches with your theme. Okay, so it all depends on complexity. So in this course, we're going to cover, for obviously creating tables. I'm going to show you how to do the formatting, how to control it, how to adjust heights, how to insert rows and columns, do vertical and horizontal justifications, text direction, distributions, all sorts of things. So heaps and heaps to go through. So let's get to it. Hey there, welcome back. So let's get into it. Let's create our very first table. There's 3 ways to really do this. So we're going to go to let me do that again. Let's go to the Insert menu tab, and we're going to use this table function here. And before I do that, I'm just going to create a blank slide, actually, just so we're nice and clean. Okay, so I'm going to click that table. Now what you're going to see is this grid. This grid will actually create the table for you. Okay, so there's 10 spaces that you can use to create this. But let's say you had something that is, I don't know, how many rows is this? 8 rows. Let's say you need something that's 10 rows. Okay, if you want to build something that's a bit bigger than that, you can use the Insert Table function. So let's do both. I'm going to create a 2x2 table. So I just click like that. And that's my table right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and delete that and try it again. So to delete, we just click the outside border and we press delete on the keyboard. Couldn't be either. Okay, so we go back into that table function. Let's go Insert Table. With this one, you can actually set the number of rows and columns that you want. So let's say I want 7 columns, but 15 rows. And then we go, okay. So that's another way of creating a table. Okay, pretty simple. Now, the other way to create a table is to use an Excel spreadsheet. So we're going to go back to, let's actually create a new slide. Let's just start off nice and clean. Okay, so go back to that Insert Menu tab, click on Table, and we want to go to Excel Spreadsheet. Okay, and that's going to do this. What you'll notice is the menu tabs have switched to Microsoft Excel. All right, and we have here a miniaturized version of the Excel workbook. So we can actually make this a bit bigger, like so. Now, as you can see, the functionality isn't as good as Excel, obviously. So we can build stuff here. So let me just create some fake data. One. Let's grow one. Let's create some numbers here. Let's create some borders. Okay, very simple. Go like that, and there's our table there. Okay, so that's the other way to create a table. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey there, welcome back. I'm going to teach you another way to import some data into Microsoft PowerPoint via Excel, and we do that using what's called objects. So I'll show you how to get there. We're going to go to the Insert Menu tab. We're going to go all the way here to the right in this text section. I'm going to click on Object. Let's go ahead and click that, and it's going to open up this window. So we want to go Create From File because we want to import it from an Excel spreadsheet. Okay, so we do that. So actually, let me just say something about Create New. In the previous video, we created a Excel table in PowerPoint. The equivalent of doing that is just simply selecting Microsoft Excel worksheet or worksheet, and that's the same thing. In this one, we want to connect a table. We want to get data from a Excel table and import it. So what we do is we use Create From File, go Browse. Let's go find this file. So here's one I prepared earlier. So we go click the Excel file. We go OK. Now we have an option to do a link. Now what a link does is it creates just an image instead of a table. And when you click on the image, it opens the Excel file. So we don't want that. We just want it to be in PowerPoint. So we go, OK, like so. And let's go and do some processing. And then now we have our table. So let me bring this to the side and then bring the Excel spreadsheet I was woken on. If I can find it, should be this one. OK, I'll bring that over. Right. So this is the table I built, and I'll provide this to you so that you can play with it. And what you're going to notice is if I zoom in that one, is that some of it is cut off. So this stops at Sarah Jessica Barker. And what I've done is I just got a list of funny dog names. So I got Winnie the Poodle, Mary Poppins, Julius Caesar, Notorious, D.O.G., Ferdinand, Wolfgang Amadeus, and so many. You can read through some of these. Okay, so what's happened is it's actually cut it off because it just created a table. I don't know how it gets these values, but it just did. So I'm going to show you how to adjust the size. If you adjust it this way, it won't work. It's just going to compress your image because what it's done is it's taken a snapshot of that data and saved it as an image. Okay, what we want to do is we want to change the view inside the image. So the way to do that is if I maximize this, I just need to double click into this image and it's going to go into Excel mode, similar to what we had before. From here, I can adjust how big this window is. So now I can adjust this. So if I do that, and then I click outside, then I've resized the image. Now the disadvantage here is that, yeah, you can do some formatting, but it's very limited to do it within PowerPoint. You have to go into Excel mode to do the formatting, which I'm not a massive fan of, because then you have to kind of do both things, and it's just not consistent in terms of maintaining the PowerPoint presentation. Whereas if everything isn't done in Excel, done in tables in PowerPoint, it's much easier to manage. Okay, so, but the option is there if that's how you want to go about it. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey there, welcome back. I'm going to show you how to format a PowerPoint created table. It's very, very simple. we select the table first and we go to the Design menu tab. We have a number of options. We are going to stay in this section right here. All right. We're going to begin with the table styles, which is this one right here. And this is probably the easiest way to format because you just pick one. Literally just pick one. And there's heaps of different styles, and you have categories of light, medium, and dark. So if you want like a darker color, a darker fill, there's heaps to choose from. So that's super easy to do. So let's leave that as is for now. Let's click up there to get out. Now, the other thing we can do is what's called table style option, which is here on the left. So if I just untick each one and then tick them as I go, you'll see what each one does. So a basic table looks like this. It's simply just grid lines. Okay? We can actually have a header row. And that's quite common in almost every single table where you need to mark what each field is. So you can separate it by a thicker line there. You can have a total row at the bottom. So if you're representing numbers, you can show the total values underneath a double line, which is common in accounting. You can have banded rows. I really like banded rows. I may have shouted that, I apologize. But the reason I like banded rows is because it guides your eyes on where to go. I see a lot of tables where you do have multiple fields and there's no way to avoid having multiple fields. If you don't have the banded rows, sometimes your eyes can go a little diagonal like that and end up reading the wrong row. And I've seen this happen with tragic consequences in finance, where someone approached me and goes, Jed, the formulas we have aren't working. They're coming out with all sorts of weird values. And these are finance people, right? So they come to me and they go, look, it's not coming out correct. And I go and take a look and they have no banded rows, massive tables. So I go, okay, let me take a quick look. The first thing I did, banded rows, I chucked it on. And when they looked at it, they go, oh my gosh, we've been reading the wrong line. These are very experienced people, and yet something as simple as banded rows could have saved them so much trouble. So that one I absolutely love. The next thing is first column. Now we've got to choose one that actually has a first column from memory. Let me move that over. And let's choose this one here. There we go. So the mediums and the darks have the first column option. So let's go and pick... not a black one. It's too aggressive. Let's pick that one. So if I do the first column thing again, you can do that. And that's usually because that's the name for the row. The last one is the last column. Again, this can be used for a sum value across the row. And the last one is banded column. So similar to, let me just get rid of these so you can see it. So similar to banded rows that go across, banded columns go this way. So again, it's a way to guide the eyes. So that's all for the table style options. And the last thing is pretty basic. And you probably covered this in images, in art, in borders. I mean, this is so common now. You can use shading, so you can have different colors for the fill using this shading function. You can change the border effects. From here, you can get rid of the side lines. You can get rid of all the lines if you really wanted to. So you got the border options. And the last one is effects. So you can use bevels, right? You can use shadows for the outside of your table. And you can use reflections. Okay, so there's heaps and heaps of things to do to make your tables very, very unique. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you at the next video. Hey there, welcome back. In this one, I'm going to show you some text formatting and also how to control some of the cells using merging, inserting, splitting, and so on. So very, very easy to do. The first thing I'm going to learn is quick styling. Now, I love these kind of quick styling things because they're like preset formats that you can apply immediately. So you don't have to be fiddling around with the shades and the colors and all that. You just pick one you like and maybe modify if you need to. So very easy. We're going to start by clicking on our table. So you have a number of options. You can either select the whole table and apply the text formatting to that, or you can just select an individual item. We're going to do the whole table just because that's a little bit more complex than just simply selecting one. So we select the border of our table. And then we want to go to the Design menu tab. We're going to go to Word Art Styles, and we want this massive A right there. So let's go ahead and click that. That will open up a number of options. So we can just hover and check them out. As you can see, they're all updating, right? So we can apply one of these. If we want to get rid of whatever we applied, we just click Clear Word Art. So the one I'm going to apply is something that makes it easier to read, not harder. So let's see what we got here. Yeah, that's not bad. Let's just do that as a practice. So I'll go ahead and select that. So very easy. The next thing is I want to control the justification. And if you're unfamiliar with justification, all that means is where is my data within that cell. Right now it's on the far left. You can put it in the middle or you can put it on the far right. I want everything to be in the middle. And also the other thing is that is horizontal justification. There's also vertical justification. So if we look at this one right here, the text is in the top part of the cell. We can put it at the bottom or we can put it in the middle. So we have that choice. So again, we select the whole thing and I believe it is in layout. So we go into layout and we want to be working in alignment. Alignment, that's how you say it, alignment. Sorry, apologies for that. All those English professors out there going, this guy. So anyways, we have the justification symbols here. The top half is the left, middle, and right justification, and the bottom is the top, middle, and bottom justification. And you can actually see, I've zoomed in so you can actually see the little symbols there. They're pretty good. So I'm going to just do this one just to show you. So if I want to apply to an individual cell, I just select that one. Let's do middle. Let's do bottom. Okay, so that's that. And we'll try the other one. So I'm going to select this one right here. I'm going to make it middle and right. So if I want everything to be middle for horizontal and vertical, it's very easy to do. You don't have to select each one individually. I can select the entire table and I can go middle and middle. Now, sometimes you may have to click it twice because something may already have a middle in there. So what's going to do is when you click it, it removes the middle. And then you have to click it again to apply the middle. So let me see if I can actually show you how to do that. So if I just make everything left, top, and I make this one middle, if I click on this and I click middle, oh no, so in PowerPoint it's fine. I find that in Excel. So, okay, so very, very simple to use. This one seems to be a lot smarter. So that's how you do the justification. So the last thing I'm going to show you in this one is adding and removing unwanted rows or columns. And this is very, very simple. As you can see, we have one here that is extra that we don't need. And I actually want to add one on top of this to create a title. So here's how you do it. To delete the bottom one, we simply select it like so. We can do it that way. So you can select it like as if it's text like that, or you can do a row select. And the way to do that, it's a little bit trickier, is if you go as close as you can to the left side of the table, you'll see that your cursor changes from a cursor to a right-facing arrow that is black. If you click that, it'll select the entire row. So if you have a really long row, that's very useful. And then we want to go into the Layout menu tab. I'm going to go into rows and columns. We're going to use these functions here. So to delete anything, we use this. To add any rows or columns, we use this one right there. So we'll go ahead and delete rows. There we go. If we select delete columns, it'll get rid of everything because it says this column, and this column. So you don't want that. You want to delete the rows. So let's go ahead and do that. Delete rows. And if you want to get rid of the whole thing, is do delete tables. So we'll go delete rows. And I want to add one above the table. So I want to select the topmost row. If I select this one, it'll add one in between these two. And that's what I don't want. So you have to actually say above what to PowerPoint. So I select this row and I go insert above. There we go. And we now have a secondary area here. Okay? So that's how you insert and delete rows. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one and I'll see you in the next video. Hey there, welcome back. So in this one, I'm going to teach you a few things. Firstly, how to adjust the height and length of your cells. Then we're going to do a little bit of merging and splitting, which is very, very helpful. And last of which you can look at margins. So let's start with the height and the length of a cell. So In a table, you can adjust the height by simply clicking the bottom line of that row. So for example, if it's this row we're looking at, we want to select this line right here. So if we click that, your cursor will change this double line with 2 arrows, and you can simply move and adjust them. Okay, so very easy. Same thing with the columns. You want to select the right side. So if I'm looking at this one right here, I want to look at the right side. So anywhere along that line doesn't matter, and you can adjust the width. Okay, so that's all there is to that. The other one is merging. Now, merging means to combine these cells or multiple cells into one huge cell. Okay, so if I select these 3, I can either right-click and merge, or I can go to the Layout tab up here and then click on Merge Cells. So if I go ahead and click that, these are all going to combine into a single one. Now, this is very helpful if you want to create a heading for your table, or if you have, for example, let me just do a quick one right here. If I want to put text that refers to both of these, so I can do Merge Cells, and I can now have text that applies to both of those rows. Okay, so that's one other reason you could be using merge cells. Now, let's say you wanted to go backwards. You want this to be 3 cells again. You can use what's called splitting. So I can either right-click and go split cells, or again, go to the Layout tab and click Split Cells. From here, you'll be able to tell or ask how many columns and rows you want to split it up to. So I want 3 columns. So I just do that. I want it 1 row, so I click OK, and that's going to split it. Now, the problem is they're not going to completely align, so you can just adjust that yourself, and you'll notice a lock when you get close to it, like so, and then that should now be combined, like so. Okay, so that's splitting, and the very last one is cell margins. Inside a cell, there's actually an invisible border which says how far the text or the numbers can touch the line. So you can adjust that by using cell margins, which is if you click on the Layout tab and you click here on cell margins. So let's go ahead and open that up. You're going to see a number of preset options. You can have the normal one, and you actually see the measurements of how much is on top, bottom, left, and right. So let's try wide. See how it changes, and go normal, changes back. So there's a slight change there. So if you ever find that it's not fitting completely nicely, try looking at the margins and adjusting that and seeing how you go. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you at the next video. Hey there, welcome back. I'm going to teach you 3 things in this lecture, and they are viewing grid lines, the draw table function, which has kind of 2 functions built in, and a third one called eraser. So let's start with grid lines. If you have a table like I have right here, right, and it has already borders and lines inside, it's pretty easy to see. But let's say I took those off. Let's say you've got no border. Then I can't really see the lines. But I also don't want to actually create lines. I just want to see where they are if I were to put lines. And this is really good because I usually don't put a lot of coloring in my tables. And so during the build mode, I just want to see how it's laid out. And if I need to adjust rows and columns, I know where to click. Okay. So if I go to, I'm just going to turn grid lines off for the moment. Okay. And because this is white, I'm just going to put it in front of this black area here. What you'll notice is when I select that, I can't see where the guidelines are. It could be here, it could be slightly off. And so when it comes to adjusting it, it's very difficult. So I want to see those grid lines. So the way to activate is you go to the Layout menu tab, we go all the way to the left where the table section is, and we go View Grid Lines. And when I click on that, you'll see that the lines suddenly appear. If I click outside, they disappear, so they need to be activated, which kind of makes sense because the only time you really need to see it is when you're adjusting something, right? So those grid lines won't show up in your presentation. They are just guidelines. Okay, so that's the first thing. That's grid lines. The next thing I want to show you is if I just apply some simple formatting to this. Let's just pick one. Let's pick. I just need something so you can see it. That'll do. And we'll give it a border, just quickly, doesn't matter which one, oops, a border for the whole thing. And I need it to be the solid line, so let's try that again. Okay, so we now have solid lines for our table. So I'm going to show you the draw table function, which is, if you go to the design menu tab, we're going to go to draw borders. We're going to look at this function right here, draw table. So this does two things. One, you can actually just create a table by drawing, like so. Right, so I've got a table right there, and actually I can add or expand that table if I wish. The other function it has is splitting a table that already exists. So this is a little bit tricky, so I'm going to do it very slowly. I'm going to go to the Design menu tab. I'm going to click that Draw Table, and when you use it on a table that already exists, your cursor needs to be inside the table. If it's out here, it's going to think you just want to create a table. But we want to modify an existing one, so you need to be inside. So let's say I wanted to split this column here. I click on the inside anywhere, and I start dragging. So I click and drag, and then I let go. And it's automatically going to create another column for me and split it, while still maintaining the width of the entire table. So let's do that again for the row. I'm going to go like that, click and drag, and there we go, another row. If you're just using it to add rows and columns to the ends, then I actually just recommend you use, let me get that function. I just recommend you use this one, kind of easy. But if you have a column that's kind of in between and you kind of want to split it and kind of maintain the shape, then the draw function is very useful. The next thing I want to show you is the eraser, which is simply the opposite of draw table, which is to split them. Okay, so if I click on this line here, it's going to get rid of that line in the middle. Same one here, same one here. Now you can use this to split, similar to the splitting function. I get out of that for a second. You can use it similar to this function, but I don't recommend it because you have to do line by line. So it's good if you just want to do one particular thing. But personally, I just use the split lines and merging cells. It's a lot easier for me. Okay, so those are the two things I wanted to show. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you with the next video. Hey there, welcome back. I'm going to teach you about text direction changes and also how to evenly distribute your rows or columns. Let's begin with the text direction. There's two ways to do this. You can click the text, just so we know that's the one we're going to be adjusting, and we can go to the Home menu tab and then use this text direction function. Now, this same function is also available in the Layout section. Now, we can click on Text Direction right here. Go ahead and click that. And from here, we got three options. We get, four. We go horizontal, which is the normal one, rotate it that way, rotate it the other way, and then stacked. Okay, so those are the ones you can choose from. In Excel, you can actually have a custom angle, like a diagonal, but in this one, you can't. So if you wanted to introduce that, I believe you can do a screenshot, I guess, of your Excel spreadsheet. That's one way to do it. But other than that, you'll have to use these angles here. Okay, so that's text direction. And the other one I want to show you is even distribution. What you'll notice in our table is the heights of the cells are consistent, right? And for the columns, I'm actually just going to throw it off a bit, like so. It is not even either. So the way to evenly distribute that is if you go to the Layout menu tab after selecting your table, you can use Distribute Rows or Distribute Columns or both. So let's start with Distribute Rows. And what you'll notice is they are now all even. Okay, then we do Distribute Columns, and again, that is even. So that's a quick way of cleaning up your data. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed that one, and I'll see you at the next video. Hey there, welcome back. So what I'm teaching in this one is how to copy data from Excel into PowerPoint. This is the method I recommend the most. It's the easiest. And also it's a way of preserving everything you have in Excel, which is good. So let's begin with Excel. So I've got Microsoft Excel here. And what you should do is, before you copy all this over, is to get rid of all the formatting. And the reason I say that is because when you take it over, sometimes there's some weird formatting stuff that may occur, or it's just not, it's easier if you have clean data to begin with, and then you style it, okay? So what we can do is to get rid of this. First, we can just copy this, or highlight this, and we're going to get rid of the formatting. So to do that, you want to go to the Home menu tab. Want to go here to Editing, Clear, And then from here, we want to do clear formats. And what happens is it gets rid of anything that you do. So any borders, it's going to revert back to the default text, any bold, any sizing, justifications, all of that, it's gone. It's pure now. Okay. And then from here, we want to copy it over. So we can go to the home menu tab. I want to click copy. Okay. And I press the button there. There we go. I'm going to press copy. I'm just going to do the blinky thing. I'm going to go into PowerPoint, like so. And then we're going to paste. So to paste that, we go to the home menu tab and we just click paste. We'll go ahead and do that. And then if we just maximize this, it already has some formatting that was applied to it by default from the design menu here. And this is the one that's been selected, most likely because I've used that somewhere else in the document. So I want to on this one, and that has absolutely no formatting on it. Then from here, I apply my formatting. And the reason I do this is also, if I have multiple tables in PowerPoint, I can actually make sure that each one is formatted exactly the same. If I have a format in Excel, then I have to jump between two programs. So by having it completely clean to begin with, it's easier for me to stay in PowerPoint and just do the formatting there. Okay? So that's as easy it is to That's as easy it is. I don't know if that's a phrase, but it's very easy to do the Excel copy into PowerPoint. So I hope you guys enjoyed and see you in the next video. Hey there, welcome to the next section on charts. We're going to be doing a little bit of a crash course on Microsoft Excel. I'm going to show you guys how to build a simple table. And I'm going to show you how to introduce a few charts. I'm going to be doing it in Excel and taking it over to PowerPoint. I don't like building purely in PowerPoint. It's not easy. It makes it slightly difficult, whereas if I do it in Excel, it's nice and clean and I can control the data files. It's much, much easier to do it this way. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do a table. I'm going to show you, we're going to go through a few charts. We're going to go through some formatting options. We won't be covering every single detail when it comes to options you can do in Microsoft Excel. I'm really just focused on creating a simple chart with the data that you need to present and then take it over to PowerPoint. That's what I really want to teach you. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into it. See you guys inside. Hey there, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to show you some formatting you can do on your chart that is very, very simple, nothing too intricate, and you're able to get a lot of good effects on it immediately. So let's begin. We want to first move this chart to the left just so we get a better vision of it. Okay, so with this chart, we want to select it first, and that is going to bring up the chart total. Just like PowerPoint, you're going to see these temporary tabs come up when you select an image or a chart, and we're going to be working with chart styles right here. In here, we have preset formatting that we can choose from, and it will do everything for us. Okay, so that means the text size, that means the grid lines, the color of the bars, the legends, everything. So we can scroll through here and apply as many as we like. Sorry, not as many. Apply any of these that we like. So I'm going to try this one right here because it's kind of glow in the dark. Okay, and that's it. That's as simple as applying formatting. So you can do that, or you can do some of your own custom stuff. So let's go through some of that. I'm going to revert it back to the original. Okay, which is just the very first one. The first thing I'm going to show you is what's called quick layout. Quick layout is over here on the left, and quick layout is again similar to chart styles. It gives you a few different options of how you're going to lay out the chart itself. So again, it's a very simple way of going, yeah, that's good, click, done. Okay, so you can just hover and see what that looks like. And once you're done with it, you can just press on that and it's done. Okay, so that's another quick way of getting formatting with very little effort. The next thing is, I'm just going to do undo. And next thing I want to do is, and I'm a massive fan of this, is either change the border color or remove it completely. And I like this more if I move this to the side here, especially in Excel. If I get rid of the grid lines, right, which is how it's going to print out on a piece of paper, if I have a line there, it's a little bit distracting. You may not notice it, but it is a little bit distracting. So what you can do is you can actually remove it or change it to something that's a bit more suitable. So we're going to click on that that chart, and we're going to go to Format, Menu tab, okay? And we're going to go Shape Styles, and we're going to use this one right here, Shape Outline. And from here, we can change the outline colors. I can pick green. I'll choose a really obvious one so we can see. And we now have a green outline, okay? Or I can get rid of it completely and click on No Outline, like so, okay? So let's bring back that green one real quickly. We can also adjust, just like lines or in using shapes, we can also adjust the weight, meaning the thickness. We can make it super thick. We can change a pattern. We can make a dash. So there's plenty that you can do there, okay? So I'm going to get rid of that for the time being. The next thing you can do is you can actually change the fill of your chart. And that's, again, very easy. You can just select the color here. You can upload a picture if you like. And I'm going to show you gradient because I really like gradient. And that's really just choosing color and then having the color slowly change as you go from one extreme of the chart to another. So I choose a good one. For example, here, it's a lot lighter in the bottom than it is at the top. So it's a little bit of a contrast, makes it a little bit more interesting. And that's an option that you can use just to give your chart a little bit of style. Okay, the next thing is very, very simple, is font. Font and size is simple to do. You just select the entire chart, and when you change the font, it'll apply it to everything in the chart. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to select it from here. You'll probably notice it's very similar to a lot of how you do things in PowerPoint. Okay, so let's pick, I'm going to pick something obvious, but not crazy. I'm going to pick engravers. That's a pretty extreme, okay? So you can do that. You can also adjust the size of all the text inside, like so. Don't make it too big because then it just gets a bit extreme. If you're not sure which one you want, there's also these buttons here, which allow you to slowly increase in size, like so with each click, or decrease in size until it comes very, very small. Okay, so that's text size. And the very last thing I want to show you in this crash course is change colors, which is over here in the design menu tab. And what that does is it changes the theme colors that we have. So right now, the orange and blue, we can actually change that. So I'm just going to go to this original one here. If I click on change colors, we have a number of different palettes, and we can just select one from here. So we can hover and preview. And I'm feeling a bit gold today. Okay? So those are just some different formatting functions you can do. This is by no means how creative you can be in Excel, and especially with charts. You can be extremely creative, so I'll leave it up to you. And what I actually have here is a collection of some of the charts we'll be going through. And this is just building them very, very simply, but you can also get very creative, and you can become something like this. Okay, we won't be teaching you how to do all this, but I just want to show you that the sky is the limit, okay? So I'll leave that there. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you at the next video. Hey there, welcome back. What I'm going to teach you about in this lecture is how to add a chart title if you haven't got one, how to change axis labels, how to adjust the tick marks, data labels, trend lines, and legends. And that's all to make sure that your chart is giving off the correct information and making it as easy to read as possible. Okay, so always have a chart title, always have axis labels and units, and also a legend if you need it, if you have more than one data set. Okay, if everything is, for example, just Aragon, you don't need a legend. But if you have like 7 different things, you need a legend, okay? So don't make that mistake. I've seen it happen before. So everything we're going to be doing in this video is contained here in Add Chart Element. So to get to that, you go to the Design menu tab after selecting your chart, of course. Go to Chart Layouts, and we want to click Add Chart Element. So let's say I'm just going to delete this title, just to show you in case you accidentally delete yours. You can go Add Chart Element. I'm going to start with Chart Title, which is the third one. Now you got 2 options. Overlay means it goes over the actual chart data, and above chart goes above the data. So I usually use above chart, like so. And to change the text, just go in here. We're just going to call it chart data. And when you're done, just click outside and you're all finished. Okay, so let's go back into that chart element. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add access titles. Okay, axes is simply the values here. Okay, if I show the axis, if I get rid of the vertical one, notice how there's no units in my chart. We have to always have the tick marks. Okay, so let's go add those back in. All right, and we're going to have labels for those. So let's go access titles. Let's start with the horizontal. I want this to be called enemies. Okay, we can just move that down here. Then I also want a vertical. And I want to be calling this enemies killed. Okay, like so. The next one we are going to do, so the chart title is data labels. So data labels is very helpful if you have a lot of data in your chart, and instead of reading off the axis, you can just put a number on top of the set itself. So as I hover here, you'll notice that there's numbers there. And this really just controls the positioning of where those are going to be. Okay? The one I tend to use for a chart, for a column chart, is either center or outside end. It really depends on how your data looks. So I leave it to you to choose that. Let's go just choose the center one. So very, very easy. As you notice, all the things that you need to add these kind of values are all in one spot, so you can't really get lost. You have error bars in there that you can add. You can show your grid lines, so you have different variations for that. Here is the legend. Now, as you notice in my chart, I already have a legend. That's fine. It's not going to add a second one. What it's going to do is just going to move where my one is. So let's go ahead and pick right. Okay, and what you'll notice in my chart is the label has overlap. So it's very easy to move that. We're just going to click it and move it. That's it. That's as simple as it is. Okay, and the last thing is trend line. This isn't really used for column charts. This is really used for scatter plot data or linear, or it's an ocean called linear, line graphs, right? But I can do one here just for a quick demo. If I do that, and then I can select which data set I want to apply to. So let's say Aragorn, I can apply data set. So it shows that as you go from orcs, dark elves, mana goblins, his number of kills is increasing, which is good. I mean, Aragorn is a good ally to have. Okay, so that's all the elements you'll be learning in this lecture. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey there, welcome back. So we are now at the stage where we can take our data over to PowerPoint. I'm going to show you how to do that and also mention a point of why we always want to start in Excel as opposed to PowerPoint. So let me show you how this all works. We have our data over here on the right, and what we're going to do is we're going to copy this chart over to PowerPoint. Okay, so it's very easy to do. We're just going to start over here in Excel. I'm going to click this chart. We're going to go to the Home menu tab. Over here, I'm going to click on Copy. Alternatively, you can always right-click and press Copy. Okay, so now we've copied it. We're going to go over here to PowerPoint. And instead of just pasting, I'm going to show you the different types of paste when it comes to charts. Okay, so there's 5 types. The first one is use destination theme and embed. Very important, embed workbook. What that means is if I embed and then I make a change to this original data, watch what happens. I make it 1,000. Nothing happens, okay? In this one, the data updated. In this one, it didn't. Because what's happening is we're copying it over and we're removing any link to Microsoft Excel, okay? We can link them, and I'll show that in a second. So let's delete this one. And let's undo that, and let's copy it again. So we go right-click. We're going to go copy, go back to PowerPoint, and we're going to go paste. Now we're going to look at the second one. Now this one keeps the original source formatting and also embed, so meaning it's not going to link to Excel, but it will keep any formatting that we did in Excel. So go ahead and click that. Okay, so the difference between this one and the first one is the first one will align to any theme that I've chosen in PowerPoint, which is the one that you want. Okay, so between the two, you can keep the first one if you want to maintain the theme to PowerPoint, the second one if you want to maintain what you did in Excel. Okay, so as you can see, this matches the formatting in Excel that we have. So let's go ahead and make that bigger, have a quick look, right? Delete that. Okay, so the next one we're going to be doing is, let's first copy this. Let's go in here. The third one has the linking, okay? So this one has, applies the theme that I've chosen for this PowerPoint slide, but it also links the data. So if I go ahead and pick that, I'm just going to make that a little bit bigger just so you can see. If I change data in my Excel, let's say 100, it will update both datasets. Let's do a more extreme number so you can see. As you can see, so that also comes in helpful in certain cases, okay? So the next one is, you can probably guess, if I copy this, if I just undo that number, okay, and I right-click, copy. If I go paste, the fourth one uses the source formatting I had in Excel, but also links the file. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Make that a bit bigger. Like so. So again, if I change this value, it will update both datasets. Okay, but the formatting it has is the original one I had from Excel. Okay, and the last one is probably the simplest to explain. I pressed something there. Let's go ahead and copy this data set. Copy, let's go to PowerPoint, and we want to paste the fifth one. What the fifth one is simply a screenshot of your chart. So instead of actually being a chart that you can modify, it's just an image. So if you are worried that you're going to fiddle around or change formatting or something like that, paste it as an image, and that's it. It's very, very simple. The only problem is you can't edit this data now that it's an image. So that's the only drawback. Okay, so that's everything to do with actually pasting it into Microsoft Excel. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you with the next video.